Welcome everyone to 284 News. My name is Javon Wilson.
I'm Kamal Haynes.
And I'm Ron Grant.
And we are so thrilled and happy to be coming to you live out of the beautiful British Virgin Islands. The content continues via our website, 284media.com.
In today's news, fake vaccination cards and COVID-19 results detected at BVI ports of entry and online portals.
And the BVI recorded a spike in hit-and-run accidents, with 17 recorded over the last 2 months.
The UN reaffirms the VI constitutional position and right to self-governance.
And Territorial At Large Representative believes the 2 contracts awarded to his security company should have been laid before the National Security Council and not the House of Assembly. And Honourable Member Vanterpool announced plans to bow out of politics after serving this final term in office. Well, we get to these stories after a word from our sponsors.
You value traditions. You value music. You value education. Family.
I love you.
Service.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Love. Life. At Popular, we're committed to you and everything our community values. For the things you value the most, count on us. Popular.
Well, welcome everyone. It's Friday, September 3rd, 2021. I'm Kamal Haynes.
And I'm Ron Grant. We're so happy to be coming to you live and direct from the beautiful British Virgin Islands. A happy Friday to each and every one of you. Beginning on the local scene here in the British Virgin Islands, local health officials are concerned about the counterfeit vaccination cards being detected at ports of entry across the British Virgin Islands. Speaking on the matter recently was Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Ronald Georges, who said, and I quote, "Yes, we have detected situations where, for example, dates don't make any sense. We have seen lot numbers that don't make any sense. We have seen cards that obviously don't add up. We have seen cards from the BVI which have been falsified as well." Dr. Georges made the revelation while responding to COVID-19 related questions at the recently held Transportation for Hire industry meeting. Now, the acting CMO said while local officials are on the lookout for fraudulent documents, cooperation remains a challenge as Caribbean and American cards do not carry a certifying QR code. He said, and I quote, "The team is not foolproof because a lot of the cards coming out of the Caribbean and the US are the same handwritten cards that we see. The staff that do the approvals in the portal, they look and check for these things." Dr. Georges added, saying, "I'm not saying we are 100%, but we are looking out for them and we have detected them. Those coming out of Europe comes with a card with a QR code which can be checked, so that will be out of the UK, and a lot of Europe have those cards as well. Now, but the majority, he said, of cards coming out of US and those simple little cards." He continued by saying, in addition, Dr. Georges also revealed that fake vaccination certificates are not only types of forgeries being identified. It is not just the bogus cards, but it's also the bogus test results, and we are on the lookout for those as well. Now, in an invited comment, Minister for Health and Social Development, the Honourable Carvin Malone, spoke to the dangers of falsifying documents. Honourable Malone said, "Our guess is to keep this territory safe for lives and livelihood. The illegal acts of producing false vaccination cards and COVID-19 results is dangerous and deadly. Violators must and will be investigated, fined, and prosecuted. Word to the wise, stop." Now, earlier this year, Cabinet made the decision to increase fines under the COVID-19 Control and Suppression Entry of Persons Regulations 2020 in an effort, of course, to deter and penalize perpetrators. Any person who contravenes the protocols for guidelines as set out as in the regulations now face a fine of $10,000, which is up from the initial $1,000. Fully vaccinated travelers have been notably subjected to less stringent protocols across the BVI and extended worldwide. As a result, we have seen the proliferation of certificates as unvaccinated persons attempt to travel and access goods and services. Kamal, this was an issue that came up many times before, and at the time when these questions were asked, health officials did say that at the time they did not see such an increase, but we see obviously obviously by the comments from our CMO that a fraudulent activity and fake COVID-19 tests as well as vaccination cards are becoming more prevalent in the British Virgin Islands.
I mean, Ron, that was only expected considering
Correct.
that it was detected in some of the other Caribbean countries as well. So there's obviously there are all persons who will always try to beat the system, obviously to take some shortcuts to get through. But obviously the BVI Health Services Authority would have had some measures in place to be able to detect those. Obviously they will not be able to detect all, but hopefully they detect most of them in terms of preventing those persons from coming into the territory unvaccinated and pretending to be vaccinated. Well, viewers, we move on to news from the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, where the British Virgin Islands has recorded an increase in hit-and-run accidents, with 17 recorded over the last 2 months. But this is according to Police Inspector George Mason of the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, who made a disclosure during an interview with our news station yesterday. Well, Inspector Mason, who is responsible for the road policing unit, revealed that between the months of July and August, there were some 132 recorded accidents in the territory. Well, of that number, a total of 17 hit-and-run accidents were recorded.
I would like to go right back to July, the month of July, right down to August. In July, there were 62 accidents reported. However, we seen 57 of those accidents were minor, 4 with injuries, and there was 1 serious injury. However, there were 6 hit-and-run accidents in that instance. Now, in August, there were 70 reported cases of accidents. 7 of those were accident with injuries. 63 of those were minor accidents, and 11 of those were hit-and-run accidents. So thereby we can see that there was an increase between July and August of this year.
Well, in light of those high numbers, well, viewers, Inspector Mason also revealed the serious nature of such an incident, which he said carries a fine of up to $100. But he also appealed to residents who witness any such incident to report the matter to the nearest police station.
In terms of committing this offense, the seriousness, this is covered under the traffic laws of the British Virgin Islands, the Traffic Act. Under Section 40, any person who involved in a motor vehicle accident failed to stop at the accident scene or report whether they hit someone or involved in hit another vehicle, hit an animal, it could be a goat, it can be a cattle, it could be a sheep. If you fail to report that accident, you can be charged for such an offense. Now, under that section, if you go before the court and convicted, you can be charged up to $100. However, what I am appealing to the public is if they've seen or have any information in relation to whether it's a vehicle or even a property damage, report it to the police. We do not want this to hit home where some member of family may be affected, or even your property might be affected. One of the things we must take into consideration is to know that one of the economic pillars of the BVI is tourism. And if this is affected, what can happen to us in the British Virgin Islands? Therefore, I'm appealing to this public. Do not wait until it happens to someone in the territory, much more a tourist or any resident living on the territory. I'm appealing to you, please cooperate, help the police, because we are here to help you just as well.
And also on that note, well, viewers, the head of Road Policing Unit further revealed that to date, the force is yet to apprehend any of the perpetrators involved in the hit-and-run accidents.
This time, we have not have any breakthrough in any of these hit-and-run cases. So that's why I'm here, appealing to the public to help us as we help you, because the police is the community and the community is the police.
All persons with any information that can assist with solving any of the hit-and-run accidents can contact the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force at 368-5411 or 5335 or 5341. Ron, this is some very concerning news. For the first thing, in terms of the amount of accidents happening in the territory within a 2-month period, if he would have stated 135 within a 2-month period, imagine what it would have been in terms of if he had the stats to give the year-to-date statistics. And then coupled with that, 17 hit-and-run incidents, which that's very concerning. And as he would have said, you know, it only affects person when it strikes home, you know, when it's a loved one that's affected by such an incident, you hit and run, you know, obviously it creates a major concern and could also, as he would have said, affect the economy, you know, in terms of, let's say that was a tourist that was hit and run. Yeah. So it's very concerning news, Ron.
I do agree. For such a small territory, these are large numbers within such a small time frame. And as he mentioned, it is imperative that as a community we continue to essentially police ourselves when it comes to road traffic incidents. I think that they've seemingly gone out of control in the territory, and I think all persons concerned, pedestrians, motorists, bikers, all need to come together and really look at the cohesive collaboration that it will take to make sure that all road users are safe. Viewers, still ahead, a Territorial At Large Representative believes the 2 contracts awarded to his security company should have been laid before the NSC and not the House of Assembly. And we take a look at the UN reaffirms the VI Constitutional position and right to self-governance. All this and so much more after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News.
ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT fiber network. CCT Fire. Bring it home and upgrade today.
Well, viewers, welcome back. Well, Territorial At Large Representative Neville Smith has said he believes the sensitive nature of the two contracts which were recently awarded to his security company should have resulted in the contracts being laid before the National Security Council as opposed to the House of Assembly. Well, Smith made a comment during Thursday's sitting of the House of Assembly, where the Deputy Speaker said that following the comments which were made by some members of the House during an emergency session which was held in July to exempt him from vacating his seat, he had to clear the air regarding the nature of the contracts.
Could be wrong. But all I want to say to that, Mr. Speaker, is that the contract was out for tender. It came out for tender. When the contract came out, the company bid on it. And I'll say the company bid on it, Mr. Speaker, because I am not in the day-to-day runnings of the company anymore, but I'm still known as a director. When I was made aware of what took place, Mr. Speaker, I brought this to the House. And I think you too could agree to what I'm saying here, because I tried to bring it. And as usual, more stuff when they come to the House, we try to get these things. Sometimes we have a reason why they did not reach on time. I did come to the House with it, I think about 4 or 3 months late. That's the first instance. But then when it came, we still had to deal with COVID and all this other stuff, and had other entities, the reason why it did not come to the House, Mr. Speaker. And one of them was because, Mr. Speaker, in which I'm not going to talk too much about, because again, I strongly believe because what you call security breach, Mr. Speaker. It was a sensitive document with what it was in terms of installation of stuff like that. That when I ask questions, we all were questioning how we're going to bring it, how you're going to bring it, and what's not, Mr. Speaker. But Mr. Speaker,
Well, Smith said similar to how special exemptions are made to prevent some contracts from being laid before the House, the contents of his contract, which contained confidential security information, should have qualified under those circumstances. But instead, he said he believes the contracts should have been laid before the National Security Council.
I feel what should have happened and what could have been asked, just like when the doctors, we had problems with it. I wasn't here, but when the doctors brought their stuff and we thought about the only doctors that have, and we should have to exempt the doctors for this kind of stuff. I feel what should have happened is that we should have said, hey, look, hey, we do have business people coming to the House of Assembly doing business. We do have specialists in certain things, and hey, this is a specialist in security. And maybe we need to say, hey, this should go to the NSC instead of bringing it out to the public like that. Because, Mr. Speaker, you are now telling me to bring information, which is security breach, and share it with the people about a contract that is very high sensitive, Mr. Speaker. And I think we have to be careful how we do that, because you're putting the person or the individual at risk as well when we bring stuff like that to the House. So we have to find a way that we could remedy some of that, because, Mr. Speaker, it's a very touchy situation.
Of viewers, the Deputy Speaker also said that the contents of the debate gave an impression that persons with businesses should not run for politics. But while admitting that he was late in bringing the matter to the House, he said despite the lateness, he still followed every other protocol there was to follow.
Another thing I'm looking at in terms of with that same scenario with the contracts, it actually stated that we must come and declare what all we have. And I declare what I have, Mr. Speaker. And, Mr. Speaker, and what I want to ask, are you saying to us that this is what the BBA want, this is what the people, the voters want, anybody who have business should not run for politics? Because that's a signal I'm getting here. If you're saying that because I have a business, I cannot come into politics, because there's a provision there for me to do it, and I use the provision. But if you make it look as if, no, I got this, I did not declare it, I did not, I mean, it coming off as if, maybe it wasn't how people think it, maybe how it came, but it coming off as if, head is, I am giving myself, or the government is giving me a contract without bidding, or without anybody knowing. Mr. Speaker, we have to be careful how we put those things out there. I'm not saying that what happened should not have happened earlier, but there's circumstances. Just like how Honourable for the 4th District came and said there's certain circumstances that maybe sometimes delay you. Was it long? Yes. But did it come to the House? Yes. Was it a bid process? Yes. So why make it look as if this was something that was given to me?
Well, viewers, Caribbean Security Limited, of which Smith is a director in the company, formally entered into 2 contracts with the government dating back to April 8, 2021 and November 26, 2020 respectively, where the April contract valued $72,917.56, while the November contract totaled $99,285.
Viewers, continuing on the local scene, Deputy Premier of the Virgin Islands, Dr. the Honourable Natalia D. Wheatley, has welcomed the conclusions and recommendations of the United Nations Committee of 24's C24 Regional Seminar on Decolonization held in St. John's, Dominica from the 25th to 27th of August 2021, which he attended on behalf of the Premier and Minister of Finance, the Honourable Andrew Foy. Now, according to Honourable Wheatley, and I quote, the UN via the C24 has again reaffirmed the right of the people of the Virgin Islands to self-determination and for self-governance in the territory to be upheld. They have clearly called for the administering power and the United Kingdom to respect the UN Charter and international law, which covers the special rights of the Virgin Islands and those societies on the UN list of territories yet to be completely decolonized. This includes the VI's current constitutional position and plans for constitutional review. In his report to the Committee on the Progress of Decolonization and Self-Determination in the VI, the Deputy Premier highlighted concerns about the prospect of the territory's autonomy being taken away following the completion of the ongoing Commission of Inquiry on the islands, despite the full cooperation, he said, of elected government. He said, and I quote, "The sitting government continues to cooperate with the Commission of Inquiry and is only seeking a just outcome. The process should not be used as a pretext by the UK to take away the autonomy of the local government or as leverage to compel us to simply do as they wish, as opposed to engaging in dialogue. Moreover," he continued, "the sitting government should be allowed to exercise the maximum degree of self-governance permitted under the Constitution. We are within our right to do so," Honourable Whitley said. Now he went on to say, furthermore, our plans for a constitutional review should not be impeded by the UK on the basis that they want to wait for the outcome of the Commission of Inquiry. The two things are mutually exclusive, and the UK should not be planning to capitalize on the review as an opportunity to impose on us what they wish or to circumspect the powers of local government. Rather, the aspirations of the government and people of the Virgin Islands should be the basis for any constitutional changes, which should proceed without delay. Now, in light, viewers, of the concerns expressed by the Deputy Premier and other representatives of the overseas territories, which the UN says have yet to be decolonized, the C24 agreed their conclusions and recommendations of the regional seminar. Among other things, the C24 reaffirmed, in of course accordance with the Charter of the United Nations and other relevant international law, that all people have the right to self-determination and by virtue of the right to freely determine their political status and freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural development. Also reaffirmed that any attempt aimed at the partial or total disruption of the national unity of the territorial integrity of a country is incompatible with the purposes and principles of the Charter of the United Nations. Reconfirmed, of course, that the United Nations had a valid ongoing role in the process of decolonization and the mandate of the Special Committee with a major program of the organization and United Nations support should be provided until all outstanding decolonization issues and related follow-up matters have been resolved in satisfactory manners in accordance with the relevant United Nations resolutions and decisions. They also reaffirmed the role of the Special Committee as the primary vehicle for fostering the process of decolonization and for monitoring the situation in the territories. Now, on the status related and or for constitutional review exercises and the overall process of decolonization, they stress that such processes should be approached on a case-by-case basis and in a way that was respectful and in human rights, transparent, accountable, inclusive, and of course, partial with the involvement of the people concerned in accordance with the relevant United Nations resolutions and decisions on decolonization and the purposes and principles of the Charter of the United Nations. Come on, we see the Deputy Premier, the Honourable Natalia Wheatley, really once again chartering the narrative, I think, on decolonization and self-governance. Of course, this administration, since taking office, this has been a conversation for many of the elected representatives, as well as a lot of our social commentators and just residents on a whole. So I think we're going to actively follow this, of course, as it is very important for our territory. Now, viewers, the Deputy Premier was joined by the Special Envoy to the Premier, Mr. Benito Wheatley.
Well, viewers, up next, Honourable Vanterpool announces plans to bow out of politics after serving this final term in office. And Public Service appoints new Health and Safety Coordinator. We get to all these stories when the 284 News returns.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Well, viewers, thank you for staying with us. But senior opposition legislator Mark Vanterpool has announced that he will be bowing out of politics after completing his term and contends that this time he is indeed serious about his decision. But Vanterpool made the announcements during the 11th sitting of the third session of the House of Assembly on Thursday, September 2nd. Take a listen.
The Honourable Premier joked with me and said, I said, this is my last, and I said that many times before. And he reminded me of some of the times I've said it. And reminds me of some of the members, those who have passed on, bless their memory, in blessed memory, who told me, don't say that because I may be back again. But I make no bones about it. I am not intending, I don't have any wish to run for any more political office. I think I have made my contribution. Once this 20 years is finished, these 5 terms are finished. I think there are younger persons to come up. I think everyone must make their contributions. I don't intend to be in this house and in a disabled manner or in a manner that I can't be. I am not able to contribute as I should. And there are persons who have been elected to do so before, and bless their souls, they have made major contributions. But I don't think you'll hear, Mr. Speaker, that I've spent 40 years in the House, or 50 years, or 30 years, or whatever it might be. I think there are others who are capable, and I want to see them move forward. So I am prepared to give up the mantle after this term.
Well, viewers, Vanterpool assured the members of the House of Assembly that he intends to keep his word this time after discussing with his family, of whom he intends to spend more time with following his departure from political office after some 20 years.
I'm afraid to speak about, and this time I'd like the Premier to know I'm serious and know that I don't intend to contest for office anymore. It's something that I have considered for a long time. Mr. Speaker, it's something that my family has and I have consulted on, because little do people know that families play a major role in your public office. And unlike what people may think that it's a flamboyant position, I can tell you it's not, especially when it comes to families who suffer in many ways as a result of being in political office, whether verbally or otherwise. And therefore, I think I have put my family through enough for these 20 years almost, and I want to thank them for being a good support for me. But I have promised them that my time, if the Lord gives me a little more, is going to be spent paying a little more attention to them, especially my grandchildren. So I am making no bones about it, and I'm not looking for any I'm not looking for any sympathy or I'm just saying what it is.
Well, viewers, in the meantime, the 4th District Representative said during his remaining time as an elected member, he intends to have all 13 members of the House of Assembly working together in sync for the betterment of the territory.
Speaker, at some point, there must be the urge for us to work together, all 13 of us, for the good of the Virgin Islands. And I'm not saying that as a cliche terminology, Mr. Speaker. I said at some point, we, Mr. Speaker, including yourself, must find some way that we can work together as elected members of this House and those who operate and manage the House. We must work together for the good of the people of the Virgin Islands. And in my search for what I would like to do over the next 12, 18 months, whatever time, I am looking to find how I can do that. And Mr. Speaker, the best way for me to do that, I know, is to use my big mouth. There are not many people who have a mouth big like mine. So don't be offended if I use my mouth.
Well, following the territory's last election in February 2019, which saw Vanterpool's National Democratic Party losing government, the member who was re-elected to serve the 4th District had initially announced his retirement from politics. However, following that announcement, Vanterpool later decided to remain in politics, a decision that resulted in the opposition legislator and the Speaker of the House of Assembly, Julian Willock, taking matter to court. Well, viewers, that's all we have for today's newscast. But before we go, we just want to give a brief update in terms of the COVID stats, where we would have heard that the territory's cases have now risen to 66. Very concerning. I'm Kamal Haynes.
And I'm Ron Grant. Do have a beautiful weekend and continue to be safe. And thank you so much. Bye-bye.